Hey everyone, and welcome to the WHM panel. I'm going to be having a discussion here with some of the lovely Liquid ladies. But before we get into that, I just want to take a second to address some of the other things that Liquid has been doing during Women's History Month. So, as part of their wider initiative to bring diversity, equity, and inclusion into gaming, Eve Ascension is an entirely women-led event in partnership with the Gallerants. Everything you see here, the graphics, the socials, and the production of this event was created and directed by women. A couple weeks ago, we had the pleasure of talking with the Gallerants about their experiences in gaming. We also spoke with SAP about their technological career experiences, as well as spoke to professional athletes discussing experiences in traditional sports. Today, we'll be talking with some of the amazing women here at Team Liquid, like I mentioned, about the theme of growth. So during our chat, we're just going to be going over some of our different accomplishments, but at the same time, taking a moment to just acknowledge some of the struggles that we've all gone through to get to where we are now, and how we can kind of help the community grow and kind of share those experiences with everyone watching. We'll also be looking at some stories sent into us on the Liquid Plus platform by different community members, so make sure to stay tuned to the end if you want to see some of those. But before we jump into any of that, my name's Amanda the Jedi. I am the resident film nerd here at Team Liquid. I'm primarily on YouTube, but I actually got started in gaming in the Call of Duty scene, kind of doing different content there and doing some back end editing for other gaming organizations, but I'm going to pass it off to Alexa.
Hi, I'm Alexa. I've been with Team Liquid for a little bit over a year now. I play Fortnite. I stream on Twitch, and I'm really excited to be here.
And Glitch.
Do I gotta look at the camera? Or do I look at y'all?
I would look at the camera.
My camera's wonky. I gotta
yeah.
All right. Hello, my name is Glitch, also Glitch X City. I am a content creator and music producer and also staff over here at Team Liquid. You probably see me on YouTube doing a lot of Pokemon remixes and covers or playing Pokemon on Twitch. And I also help out with Liquid Plus platform, make sure everything is working good to go.
And last but not least, Tiffy.
Hi, my name is Tiffy and I play Valorant. I create content on a couple of platforms, but I mostly stream on Twitch.
Awesome. So I know with me, right from the get-go, when I kind of got pulled into Team Liquid, I was really immediately struck by how open a space it was for different women, both from the creator side and the creative side behind the scenes. It is something that we're starting to see kind of spread out into other esports org. But a lot of the times on the creator side, it's still very male dominated. So I was always really interested that they were willing to pull in people like me, who I'm more into the movies and the nerd culture, and then people that are doing more personality-based stuff. We got sports players, we got musicians, and then we got people who are just down for the general entertainment. So I was just kind of wondering, what were your guys' personal experiences with Liquid, and what is kind of really stood out to you, especially from kind of the behind the scenes stuff too with you too, Glitch? I don't know if you want to get started with that and we'll kick it off to someone else after.
Yeah, I don't mind. So when I first entered TL, it was more I came through, honestly, Overwatch. I met someone that was in the Overwatch scene when TL was in Overwatch. Which is oh my god, there's competitive Overwatch and TL is part of it. We're no longer part of that, but I got introduced to so many different games. I was a big fan of Hungrybox before I even realized Hungrybox was a part of Team Liquid. He's literally one of the OGs. And then I got a little bit more into League of Legends. I didn't know anything about MOBAs, but I learned League of Legends by watching LCS and then eventually LEC. And then I'm oh wait, Worlds, wait a second, Faker. I remember seeing that dude trending 3 years ago. League of Legends, understandable. And so it's opened my mind to a lot of possibilities within gaming because, being on YouTube with gaming and stuff, it's just oh, you can't make a career out of this. It's more than just playing games. You play games for entertainment, but there's also people that develop the games. There's also people that help the communities within the games. And I've gotten introduced to so many different people around the world based around those communities. And it's one thing to be locked into a box for a certain game, but it's another thing to allow the room for the open-mindedness for just any possibility. So I really appreciate how open TL has been over the years and actually improved on being more open-minded. And it's something that I look forward to every time there's a new update. Oh, what we doing next? Oh, So it's never a dull day. I will say it's never a dull day. There's always something new, exciting, and I will like I'm bragging about us at this point, but I will say that we are pretty much the leaders of innovation, which I really like.
For me, when I first joined Team Liquid, I didn't realize how many opportunities would come with just being in this space. Like when I first started playing video games, I was like a kid, and I would always like watch all these things on TV or just see these commercials like with these brands, and I never in my right mind thought that I would work with any of them. And right even before I actually signed, like I was actually announced as Team Liquid, I was working with Samsung, and a little while after, I was invited to do a zero gravity flight. Um, which was insane. Like one of my biggest things since I was a kid was I want to go to space, and they basically brought that to me by allowing me to be a part of that whole situation, which was really cool. But the biggest thing that they kind of introduced me to was just the world of esports. Before Team Liquid, I was kind of new to this space, so I didn't really understand how things worked, who did what, like that there were so many different people in every single aspect of life. And you get to meet some really, really, really cool people here. And I've met some of my closest friends now that work for Team Liquid and are part of Team Liquid, and they're just amazing human beings. And it was just overall a great opportunity, and it feels like a family, and like that's the biggest thing. It's like a big hug.
I think one thing that stood out to me the most is when Liquid originally reached out to me, they were like, hey, we want to, we like the dope shit you do. We like you. A lot of my community was about like uplifting women in the Valorant scene, which was hard, very, very hard. A lot of girls face like toxicity in the game, and a lot of people were scared to speak up. And my community essentially was about that, like speaking up for ourselves. And like it was like, we want that. Like we like that. We want that. We want that to be a representation of us. Like we stand behind it. And that was something that was like really powerful for me.
That's awesome. I kind of just love how, like, no matter like which aspect we're coming at it from, like Liquid's just kind of provided different platforms for different people to do different things, but just succeed in any way that works best for them, which is great. So all that sounds amazing, but sadly, as Tiffany kind of alluded to, it's not always perfect. So even though the space is starting to open up in a lot of different ways, what are some challenges that you guys feel are still present overall? And anyone can kind of jump in there.
I think the biggest thing is just having so much negativity coming from kids who don't know any better and just come into chat and are very sexist right off the get-go. And they don't even, I feel like the biggest thing for me is they don't even realize that it's not okay to say what they say. Like people will come in and compliment me and say, oh, you're really good for a girl. And I feel like even like going away from that, I feel like whenever I accomplish anything, it's always because you're a girl and not because I'm good at what I do or I'm entertaining or anything like that. Like when I joined Team Liquid, so many comments, she only got in because she's a girl, and I was like, no, I got in because I worked my ass off. But do you, boo? I think that's like the biggest issue that I see is just people don't understand that they're being sexist or they're being negative, and people that do know that they're doing that, it's just very demoralizing. But we're working to fight it, and I'm happy about that.
Good.
I'm actually gonna piggyback off of a specific thing. What a lot of people don't really realize is that, females and people who identify female, they don't realize how much harder we have to work in the space to, be seen, get our voices heard. You have a skill, and let's say like you're an incredible DPS player, right? But you're not going to get the same opportunities as like your male counterpart. Like you're not going to get picked up for your team. You're not going to be you're going to be shunned in tournaments, basically. I have experienced that when I was trying to be good at Overwatch or whatever, but I won't lie and say like I was turned off from competitive because, I was a female. Like that sucks. It shouldn't be like that. And so now we're at a point where we have our own female leagues, where we have our own space to, get our names out there, have our voices heard, and feel comfortable playing in this space. There's a whole nother conversation to be had about, why females are like no co-ed teams, but that's for a different day. But I see that we're taking these steps so we can just pretty much normalize playing games casually and competitively and being seen in that boat. And like you said, like the younger kids that are coming in and just spewing nonsense, they're not taught right from wrong on the internet. I don't know if there's like internet etiquette courses in school. I feel like that should be a thing.
Yeah.
So they realize, little Timmy is saying something that's extremely harmful or really detrimental to said creator, and they don't realize that even though they just be playing around, you don't know what they're going through, and it can have like a long lasting effect, and it'll just have this domino effect on everyone else. So I don't know what the point I was trying to make there. I think I just wanted to say that.
Well, Glitch took like the words right out of my mouth. I was gonna say like the same exact things. One thing I want to kind of point out is that having teams like Liquid stand behind what we believe in and believing that we should make a safer place for women in gaming, that's something that will definitely like, we're kind of like just throwing pebbles into the ocean. We're making small waves, but it does make like a bigger effect at the end when they're like, oh shit, like, wow, Liquid's such a cool org, and like they believe in that. Maybe like I should change my mindset too. And that is something that can like help us educate like younger generations on how to behave properly, maybe in the future.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I just think as more orgs start to actually like step up their game and bring in more like, female creators and more competitive players and stuff, the culture is just going to change naturally to match it. And it's just kind of a matter of putting in the work to do that. Alexa, I'm going to shoot a question off to you here. You come from a mechanical engineering background. That's what you were doing
Yes.
before you started streaming. I don't think it's changed. I think it's still a very male-dominated field, massively so. Do you feel any of your experiences that you might have dealt with in school kind of carried over into gaming? Has it helped you at all? Or were you just kind of like, really, I have to deal with this again?
I feel like I have a very specific moment in engineering where I realized that, it's male dominant and like some people will not take me seriously, even though they should, because I was very smart. Not to like, toot my own horn.
No,
but
please do.
but I was in my senior design class and my professor was going through our designs, and he was going through like all the guys' designs because it was me and three other guys. And he went through every design and he would like ask the guys questions and like pinpoint stuff and whatever. He came to me, looked at it, said, oh, that's really interesting, and then just skipped me completely or something.
Ooh.
Or not even, like, my design wasn't even bad or anything. It just felt like he didn't really care about my input on anything, so he just kind of blew me off, which really sucked. Honestly, it was kind of like, at the time, I was like, that was a little hurtful, but, I didn't have to talk anymore, so I'm good. Because I was already, like, in the whole streaming place, so I didn't really care enough to care, I guess, because I was trying to full-time stream anyway. But I feel like it also did kind of prepare me for how people kind of view women in the gaming scene, because there's so many times when people will just like blow you off or like, tell you like, oh, you're a girl, like whatever. And I'm just like, no, I'm a girl and I can do it, and I will show you and I will prove it. And it kind of just like motivated me to want to prove that I can do anything that anybody says that I can't do. I will do it, and I will do it good.
I love that. That's amazing. Does anybody else kind of have any like experiences and backgrounds that might have been like that, or has this kind of been like you set your mind on gaming and that's kind of where you're at now?
So what's funny is that for the longest time, people online thought I was a straight white male until I did a face reveal.
Oh no!
Completely opposite of every single one of those categories. And for a while, it was like, unfortunately growing up, I've been called every name in the book. Online, same issue, and I'm just like, okay, all right. And
Yeah.
and so it's like, at the same time, they were trying to not deplatform me, but more like discredit me, because they thought whoever was behind this content looked like them. But in reality, they're like, this person doesn't look like me. I don't relate to them. But what changed? We're fans of the same game, and I just revealed what I look like, and you're saying that, hey, you don't look like me. I don't like your content anymore. I'm like, okay, that sounds like your problem. But nowadays, you don't really see as much, but there's still an issue from time to time where people just don't relate to what's going on, and they try to discredit you because you don't look like them. But what does an average gamer look like? It's literally anybody. It's from like age
Hmm.
2 to age, I don't know, 76. You got old
Yeah.
people playing games too. So it's been changing, especially with a lot of companies and organizations stepping up to the plate and shining a light on those minority groups, and I really appreciate it, even though it's a very slow wave. But I will say, during the last 2.5 years, it has opened the door for so many minority groups to be spotlighted. And it's a blessing in disguise, but at the same time, it's like we need to pick up the pace. We don't really have a lot of time, and if you think about it, us here, we're the pioneers of the space. Like, we're literally raising the next generation of gamers. They're looking towards us to be, oh, I just want to be like Tife. I want to be like that. I want to be a good person, and share that message across the board. And we have to not repeat that early online mentality and start pioneering this new decade of mentalities. Like, not, I don't want to say be kind, but be a decent human being online, and it'll just keep going like that.
Be
Yeah.
kinder than you feel.
There you go.
Oh my god, you have it on your wall.
I love it. It's amazing.
That's so awesome.
That is awesome. Glitch, just touching on that, you're obviously from the music side. I know that your music kind of goes hand in hand in gaming, but do you find that there's kind of like, do you get different treatment, like for the people who kind of come for you for the music versus like where you're at on the gaming side of things?
It's definitely a mix because, people know me for Nintendo and Pokemon, but whenever they catch me playing Valorant, especially when I played Overwatch for a good time, they're like, what? No, you belong in Nintendo. I'm like, no, I like shooting things online. It's fun.
Of course.
Same.
Everybody does.
Yeah, it's just that you don't fit in a box that people put you into. And that's been an issue that I'm still trying to combat, but it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, of course. So as I mentioned, we had asked the Team Liquid community to send in some questions and thoughts. So Tife, I'm going to direct this one at you, but anyone can jump in if they feel like they have experience. But how do you deal with a stigma that some people have that a woman can't compete at a high level?
Honestly, like stuff like that kind of blows because it's something that's been embedded into the gaming community for so long. It's like the gaming culture that girls suck at video games, that girls are bad, they can't compete. But if you take a look at just one of the many examples, we have like Cloud9 White playing at like the top of on the Valorant scene.
Mhm.
We have now our Brazilian Liquid team that they're literally at the very top of the leaderboards in Brazil, and it's like, who are you to say that we can't compete at that level? There are literally women that are competing at the highest of the levels, so they exist. Like, we just got to remember that there are a lot of people fighting for the same things that we're fighting for, and just stand up for what we believe in.
Yeah, I actually think it's really refreshing to see more of those women teams kind of like excelling in a lot of different areas and just like really coming out at the forefront and a lot. And I'm really excited to see where it goes forward because, like I said, I started in Call of Duty. There was not a competitive female to be found really. Every once in a while, you'd see one on one of the challenger teams, and you'd be like, oh. Look at you, or open brackets back then. It's like, okay, there's one, there's two, maybe three. But at like the top level, you still don't see it, obviously. So it's really nice that kind of like these newer esports coming into the scene, like Valorant and all that stuff, you're getting more of that push, which has been really nice. So another question that's just kind of open to anybody who wants to start with it is, what is your most frequent obstacle that you encounter on an almost weekly basis? And they also want to know, like, how can we as viewers help change that?
I feel like the biggest thing is not feeling like an imposter.
Mhm.
The thing that I struggle with the most on a weekly basis is feeling like I belong where I belong. Because like deep down, I know that I do.
You
because
do.
I work hard. But sometimes you kind of just get in your own head and you're just like, did I get here because I earned it? Did I get here because I'm a girl? Like all that stuff. I feel like the way to counter that is really to just believe in the content you put out, because if you didn't have good content and you weren't like deserving everything, you wouldn't be where you are now, because that's just not how life works, right? I feel like hard work always gets you to where you want to be, as long as you put in the time and the effort and the hours. As viewers to work with that, I would say just keep encouraging the person that you are watching to just believe in themselves and hype them up whenever anything, even if they lose, if whatever, just hype them up and just give them a little hug. Like, you know, you can't do it physically, but just mentally give them a little hug. That's what I need every week.
Oh.
I think one obstacle that I'm pretty sure everybody, including production that's going to be editing this, is that we get shot down because of our passions. And I can't tell you how many talented individuals were not given the time that they need because people disregarded their passions. And I really hate that. But I'm glad that we're in a spot now that overall, if you're passionate about something, you should go for it. Whether it's a hobby, it's a career, or explore what other people are passionate about and see if you can tag on to one of that. Try to learn as much as you can about your passion, because we're in a time now where things are shifting dramatically, and I feel like we need your talent, especially for the viewers. If you got something that you're passionate about, go for it. Do the thing. You know, there will be obstacles. We've all had obstacles in our passions. We're still facing those obstacles. But if you have that drive, you will find the resources that you need to succeed. You know, no matter your background. If you have that drive for your passion, you will find what you need to succeed. So don't let anybody talk you down saying you can't do that because you're so and so, or you're from this, or you look like this, or you're attracted to this. That's not right. Do the thing that you want to do. As long as you're not hurting anybody, do the thing that you want to do and just go for it.
I feel like the biggest thing is also just stepping outside your comfort zone, because like you're not going to get anywhere if you don't take that one step that makes you uncomfortable, because that's usually where you find what you want to find.
Yeah, for
That's how you grow.
One of the platforms that I post on is unfortunately TikTok. It's a hot mess on there. There's a lot of negative, sexist, like just straight up weird comments consistently, like day after day. I think it's just a reminder that even for every single hateful comment, there's always going to be like 10, 20 nicer comments that remind you of what you do. So like I do my best to not let those singular hate comments get to me. And I think just the four of us are a good example of like we are successful at what we do, even like in so many different varieties of like music, Fortnite, Valorant, and you're in YouTube film. Like we're literally proving all of them wrong on a daily basis.
Yeah, I can definitely be guilty of every now and again letting that one comment get through.
Yeah.
You have all the nice comments, everything's good, and then that one person, and you know it's not true, but it's like they've either said something so stupid or just so annoying, and you feel like you want to focus in on it and you want to tweet about it, and then eventually you're just kind of like, I am better than this.
Oh yeah.
I have so much better things to do with my time, but that is so hard to remember in that moment if you just happen to catch like a wave, like a drive-by comment. Like I try not to go through every single comment I get on YouTube, just like every now and again, but you'll like click a notification and then you see something and you're like, never mind, there's the day. There's the day.
You take a nap, I'm done.
Yeah. So it is, on a creator standpoint, it's definitely good to just try to ignore some of that stuff when you can. But if you are a fan of a creator, let them know. Like if you watch a YouTube video you like, even if it's a simple like, I like this, or even like leaving a comment for the algorithm, just something to let you know that they care. Same thing on like a Twitch chat. If you notice that somebody is like dealing with a troll, or if they seem to be having a bad day, like just, leave a nice little comment in like the Twitch stream, tweet at them, anything like that. It makes a huge difference in creators' lives to know that like we're making a difference positively in your lives. And just to kind of swing off of that question, it goes really well into the next one we had. As we mentioned, obviously mental health challenges in content creation are really common across the board. But what do you feel the esports industry is doing about mental health challenges that female and non-binary places face? Or what do you feel like could be done better? Is there like resources that you wish you had that you don't?
Well, I live in the States and I wish we had universal health care to help out. That's an obstacle for my region, but in other regions, they have like an easier time getting access to those resources. I know here at TL we have been offered that resource as well. I have not taken advantage of it, but I know some of my peers and colleagues have, and it's been good for their mental So
Good.
if the resources are out there for you, take it. Take it. Just take it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like the biggest thing for me would be to have more internet security, for there
Mm.
to be more laws about, stalkers and like DDoSing or just like doxing in general.
Yeah.
I feel like if there was more laws preventing people from doing that and more punishments for that, it would make us not just like us as women, but like everyone else in general. But I feel like we get a lot more of those like stalker behavior and like those really creepy people that
Mm-hmm.
just are in our DMs spamming it. Um, yeah, I feel like that would make everyone's mental a little bit better, knowing that they're a little bit safer with their information out there.
For
Because
sure.
if you want to, you can find out anything about anybody.
Pretty much.
Oh, yeah.
Scary.
It is. Like the weird thing about some of those online stalkers or people who just get weird, they will tell you every piece of information about themselves. They will send you pictures. They'll tell you about their brothers, their sisters, and you could go to the local authority in that area and they're just gonna be like, well, what do you want us
Exactly. They're
to
not going to do
do?
anything.
And it's like, well, this person clearly needs help. And it's not my responsibility and I don't want to deal with it. So, yeah, it's kind of sad that the world isn't really adapting to the changes of online technology as fast as it should be.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It kind of touches on the point of oversharing, because we all fell into that trap, but as we grew, we kind of learned to be like, maybe I shouldn't share that.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I've been seeing newer creators fall into that trap, and some of them I'm really close with be like, hey, don't do that. Just trust me on that.
Mhm.
You don't need to post where you're at every
Yep.
time of the day, what you're doing
Yeah.
every time of the day. It's nobody's business. Like, we're humans. It's I think not just us, but I think it needs to be said that you need to be really careful about oversharing, because if you share too much, that unfortunately puts you in a position to fall into that trap. And it's kind of hard to drill into, especially the younger generation, because all they know is online. Like, we grew into the space now, but like, for example, like my cousins, when they were born, bam, a phone in hand.
And the biggest thing I think is also don't put your like full name out there, because like any information you put out there will be there forever. Like you can't take it back.
Mhm.
So if you put your full name out there, people can find you. If you put your, I don't know, the school you went to, they can find you. Like, it's just be very careful of what information you share, and stay safe, because it's a scary world out there. And like, while you're not somebody that wants to do bad to other people, there's people out there who want to do bad to you just because they can, which is very scary.
So just kind of continuing on that, I'm sure a lot of us kind of deal with different feelings like anxiety and burnout, just different things like that. Is there anything you guys try to do to like maintain your mental health, or do you just kind of feel like you have to suck it up, Tiffy? I don't know if you have any tactics or you're still working on them. I know I am, so it's...
Yeah, I know I am too.
Yeah.
Definitely a struggle every day.
Yeah, I personally just try to like take a break from everything.
Mm.
So like I always, after I stream and do all my like work stuff, I make sure that I have like 2 to 3 hours every night to like just like be in my bed and read, or like do anything other than focusing on gaming and Twitch and stuff like that, because I feel like that helps a lot more, to just break, because you can't always be on.
Yeah, I think that's actually really important. I'm really bad at doing that. I literally was all like, I'm going to have a new place. There's going to be an office and I'll only be in here when I'm doing work. But then I'm in here all day and all night. And it's just terrible. And I don't know how to fix it. But like, hopefully that's something that'll kind of like get better as it goes on. Glitch, do you have any kind of like things you try to do to zen out?
Oh, definitely. I will say, when I started doing YouTube, at first I was doing it as a hobby. I'm like, oh my God, this is fun. Pumping out like 4 to 5 videos a week. And keep in mind, it's music related. And as I went through college, very bad at time management. I even got myself into a sticky situation mentally where I never want to have a repeat of that ever again. And so that kind of taught me, be like, hey, to avoid that, let's try some things. And I will say it took a very, very, very long time to kind of realize how important my mental is, because if the mental isn't there, I can't create. I can't do the things that I love. I can't even enjoy the games that I play. And now that I've changed my environment, I have a partner that supports me in my endeavors, and it's been a lot easier in the recent months to where I can kind of structure myself on a somewhat flexible schedule. I've kind of drilled into my head to stay away from the computer after I completed X amount of hours or X amount of work. I knocked off these tasks, and also playing games for myself. I realized very late that it's okay to play games for yourself and not share it with the world. You know, you have your game that you stream and the game that you just binge when you're not streaming, which I recommend every creator do, and also every viewer. Like you watch your favorite creator stream, right? And then once they're offline, you can either go to another creator or just take time for yourself and play games for yourself. It's totally okay. I'm just letting you guys know it's okay to play games for yourself. And that's definitely helped me, one, catch up on my backlog, and two, just kind of decompress and get a little bit more time back for myself.
Yeah, I at one point, I'm a little bit better about it now just because I've honed in on like one type of content. But I used to, if I couldn't monetize something, not that I was trying to make money, but it's just like anything I was doing, I was like, I could make a vlog, I could do this video, I could stream this. Why would I play a video game if I'm not streaming? And it's just like infects your brain that every time you wake up, you're thinking every single thing that you're doing, every book you read, every movie you watch, every game you play, that is an opportunity to be making more content. And if you're not making content out of it, you're being lazy. And that is a very bad and dangerous mindset to get into. It's why you saw a lot of those daily vloggers crash and burn, because they were literally contenting every aspect of their life. I don't think contenting is a word, but we're going with it.
It is now.
It is now.
It's like you get addicted to making content, because every time you make it go live, you're just like, that good serotonin.
Yeah. And then, like, especially when it becomes a job, or you're trying to make it a job, any free moment you have, it's like, this is something that I could be like. At one point I was working at a gym and I was like, I'm gonna do Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow workout, and that's content while I'm at work, and I'm like gonna record it and put it on YouTube. And like, that's how, like, I'm sure it gets like that with you guys a lot too. If there's games you're playing, you're like, why am I not turning on the stream? Like, why am I not monetizing this? Why am I not making this into entertainment? But those are some of the negatives that we've encountered, or things that we're still working on. There's obviously a lot of positives. We're all really fortunate to be doing what we love for a living, even if it's not all perfect. But what are some personal victories and like really cool experiences that you guys have gotten, like through gaming, things that still amaze you that you wouldn't have gotten otherwise? Tiffy, I don't know if you want to start there.
It's a company that like I grew up seeing commercials of, and like, if you said, hey Tiff, did you think you were gonna work with them 15 years ago when you were like a child in diapers watching TV, cable television? I would have 100% said no. But it's also because of like my community and what I've built and what I believe in, and they stand behind that, which gave me this opportunity now.
That's awesome. I always love stuff like that. Just random things you wouldn't think of. I know for me, like, I didn't think I'd be going into a zero gravity plane for anything. Because like, like at first it's like the travel opportunities. It's like, oh, I can go here for an event and do this. And then it's like, want to come to here for an event and go in a zero gravity plane. Like, that's something that Liquid specifically gave me that I never would have been able to do or even thought to do on my own, which is super cool and really exciting. Alexa, how about you? I know that was also a highlight for you. But I don't know if
the zero G flight was an insane opportunity as well. But I feel like, honestly, just being a part of Team Liquid in general was like a very big positive for me, because I remember back in the day I would used to watch people like 72 Hours and Poach and Vivid and Chap and all of them play Fortnite. And I remember being like, oh my God, this is so cool. I'm so excited. And then now the fact that I'm part of Team Liquid and I get to do all these cool things is just a surreal feeling. And on top of just gaming in general, allow me to meet some of my actual best friends, like for life, is the coolest thing ever. Absolutely. I probably would not have met anybody that I know now if I wasn't a gamer and streamer and stuff like that. So
Same.
Yeah.
Honestly.
For me, it's a little bit different. I was pretty sheltered most of my life. My parents didn't let me go anywhere for good reason. And I would play video games, and sometimes I would go outside, but when I would play video games, I didn't really have a lot of friends who'd share that same interest. And so YouTube introduced like an outlet for me to share my love for a certain franchise. And fast forward a few more years, I was able to finally leave my hometown, my home state, to travel and meet the friends I met online because of video games. And fast forward, like now, if you asked me 10 years ago, hey Glitch, if you could see yourself in 10 years, what would you be doing? I would be like, I don't see myself, living off of my passion and traveling to places I'd never been to before that I would see on TV. A lot of my friends were through gaming. It's surreal. So I think my personal biggest accomplishment through just games in general is that personal freedom, which I never had growing up. So experiencing that now, it's liberating.
Can I just say that's a very big double-edged sword? Personal freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Too many games.
Well, it's like
Too
if
much
no
free
one's
time.
telling you what to do, when to do
Yeah.
it, how do you
Yeah.
structure your days? I noticed that when I was like, oh, this is my full-time job now. I'll have so much time to do everything. And then I wake up in the morning and I'm like,
It's like now.
what do we
what
do?
I
What's
do?
first? So like I'll just stack things at different times during the day and be like, okay, now I have a timeline. But it's arbitrary. It's difficult. It can be difficult. Another positive, even though we kind of touched on some of the difficulties that having a large viewer base or any kind of viewership and eyes on you online can cause a lot of problems. We've probably built some really good communities here. Do you guys have any good like solid community stories or like anything like how do you feel about the communities you've built through gaming?
They are the reason that I'm still here. That was deep. I'm so
That's
sorry.
so deep. No, you're good. No, that's what we want. Like that's
Yeah.
exactly it. Like that's
It just like came out of nowhere though. I was like, wow.
no.
No, but they're my happiness. They're just everything to me. I feel like I would not be the person that I am today if it wasn't for my community. They're everything to me.
How about you, Tiffany?
But like I don't want to brag or anything, but I've like looked at a lot of my demographics across my platforms, and I would say over 50% on each platform is more female based than males. And my community has grown to a part where there's like literally hundreds of girls on my Discord that we all just like chat about like similar things that we face on a daily basis. And it's a place to remind ourselves that like we're not alone in the shit that we go through, especially because Valorant is so negative towards females gaming. A lot of them will share the same experiences literally on a daily basis, and they're always like, hey, you know, like it's good to like just talk about it and not feel alone. So that's something I'm very proud of.
Yeah, I think that's really cool because obviously there are a lot of women involved in gaming and moving into that space, but it's still very male dominated.
Oh yeah.
You know, because I know it's like my old content on YouTube, it used to be like 75-25 like for men to women, and now it's like it's completely flipped the other way. It's like a higher female viewership to male viewership just by like changing a couple things. So the fact that you've managed to like grow that much of a fan base just within yourself, still in the gaming community, that's really cool. And it lets me know that you've made yourself like a safe space for these women to come in and just kind of like share that experience with you, which is awesome. Glitch. I don't know how's your community. I'm always interested by like the combination like music stuff. Like that's always interesting.
So what's funny is that on YouTube it's mostly male dominated, but on Twitch it's mostly female dominated. So I get the best of both worlds.
I love that.
Okay.
But I will say, you know, because I didn't really have a lot of experience with the outside world growing up, I will say within the past 10 years, my community has definitely opened up my eyes and educated me on, you know, things that's going on in their country, their region, their other game community. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And I appreciate how open-minded they are to a lot of ideas, and they're able to pretty much look from someone else's perspective to understand why something is happening, why people are feeling that way. And that definitely has rubbed off on me quite a bit. And I try to offer that same perspective. Be like, oh, this thing happened. Let's take a look at it from their eyes and understand why this is a thing. Like for example, you know, little Timmy is, you know, saying heinous things in chat. Why is that? Little Timmy has not been educated on why those things are hurtful, and they think they're okay. They probably learned it from another streamer who's doing the opposite of what we're trying to do. And so I try to extend that open mindset so we can all learn together. And I will say my community has been very, very good with that over the last few years, and I'm very proud of them for it.
That's awesome. I love that. Communities really are everything. I know that every once in a while things get rough and there's comments and people and it just ruins your day, but it's important just kind of take a second and think about all the people that do love you and appreciate your time. I know for me, nothing makes me happier than someone reaching out saying like something I made like made their day, or like it's just a positive, and people just going online, like any of you guys going live on stream, and that just making someone's day. It's so simple and it's so rewarding. But speaking of that, we're kind of moving into some of the community stories that we got. We got a handful of struggles, but I just kind of went for some like common themes because a lot of them are really similar, and thought that we could maybe weigh some thoughts in there. So a common theme in the struggles is that like right out of the gate, women trying to stream or game in any competitive way, or even just from an entertainment standpoint, are immediately met with harassment. Which more so than not getting any attention at all or any kind of traction can really push people to give up. So do you have any advice for people dealing with that? Because I know we've kind of touched on it, where people will just come in and say hurtful things, either because for some reason they think it's going to make them feel better, and they just get really abusive that way. But not everybody has that like fortitude right out the gate to handle it. So does anybody have any thoughts there?
I think the biggest thing is to just get a good mod or two so that they can help you get rid of like all the little Timmies in the chat.
Yeah.
I call them Billies, but I'm gonna go with Timmies for this one.
Little Timmy's a good one. Little Billies.
But yeah, just moderators help a lot, and yeah, have a good like circle around you that can help you when you're feeling the harassment is getting to you. You can talk to your little circle and have them remind you of who you are, why you're doing what you're doing, and how amazing you are, and all that stuff.
For sure.
It's a tough one to tackle because not everyone is built with tough skin, and that's totally fine. I do agree, get yourself dependable people that will help you out in stream. But I also extend the responsibility to, creators like us and other creators who are already prominent in the space. If you want the space to grow, we have to continue uplifting those voices. You have like a talented sniper over here who's not getting the recognition that they are getting, or they're getting harassment because some douchebag is like, hey, we're gonna raid this person and be like, they stink, ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
Be like, no, it's like at first I hated having the responsibility to kind of call stuff out, but if I want the space to be better, I gotta step up. So it's kind of a two-way street. Make way for the other people to shine. It's like, it's not really a competition. We're all trying to be the best in our own personal way. And if you want a more positive light shown on the community, on your game, be part of the solution instead of the problem. So, for those of us who can't really build tough skin in like a week, I want to reassure that the community, whatever community that they're in, they will have their back. And you have to go out and prove that that is the case.
I think they both covered like everything I wanted to say.
No, for sure. I know that I don't necessarily always deal with it in the best way. My thing is, if it's happening, when I'm streaming, usually the advice is if a troll comes in, you just ban them, ignore that it happened. But like every once in a while, and I know that this isn't the best way to deal with it, I will go at them. I will, if they're being
You
mean.
have to. Sometimes
Yeah,
you just
you have to. If they're being
I
like,
do that
yeah,
every time.
yeah.
It's
And
okay
like,
to make an example.
yeah, people are like, well, you're being toxic. And I'm like, if someone's going to come into my stream and be sexist or disrespectful or insulting, I'm going to say, I try to reframe whatever they've done. If they've come at me in like a sexist way, I'll be like, well, the FBI is going to go to your door for, actually, I can't say this in this panel, but there's just things, I will say. And it's like, to me saying it in the stream isn't to get a dunk on a troll, because I'd be fine just deleting it. It's just to let other people that might be watching know, like, these are just like maybe
it's
they have
inappropriate. Like,
it's
not
inappropriate.
okay.
Yeah, maybe they are dealing with their own personal struggles and they might need help, but that is not my job to do. I want to let other people know, like, look how like small this person is, that they have to take time out of their day to troll around different streams to try to make people feel bad. You're instantly better than anything they could be doing currently. So to me, sometimes I'm making example out of them more for people watching, so that maybe if it ever happens to them, they can be like, this is a loser, and I'm going to block them. Because I think when you're first starting, you don't want to block anyone. You don't want to ban people. You're like, that's a viewer.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't want to lose them. But you also kind of have to realize that if they are making a bad time for you, they are also making a bad time for other people around. And then the good people will leave and the toxic people will stay. So just don't be sympathetic, just bop them.
I actually
Looks
want
like you got a
Literally.
thought. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to
Yeah.
add to that because
Please do.
there was an incident that happened recently. There are some people who kind of just don't have the social awareness to realize that sometimes the things they're saying is inappropriate and like out of line. So I try my best to like let them know and like make an example, be like, hey, listen, the shit you're saying is like completely out of line. Like you need to know where your boundary is, and you need to understand that you as a viewer are not allowed to overstep that boundary. And if you make like example of that situation instead of just ignoring it, like, oh, it's just one viewer, like, oh, he didn't really mean it. Then it becomes kind of like a snowball effect, and then everyone else will act like very similar, and they'll be like, oh, this other person like took a jab at the streamer and she seems okay with it, like maybe I can too. And then it just like I said, snowball effect. It makes it into like a negative and more toxic environment that you have to deal with. So I would say like when someone makes you uncomfortable in chat, instead of excusing it, definitely be more vocal about it. Like don't let it slide, because if you let it slide, it will happen over and over again.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. That's I think that's something that a lot of people, especially when they're first starting out, they don't want to talk back. They don't want to make people angry, but it will just unintentionally breed that type of viewership without you wanting it to. Another one of the really common struggles, I feel like piggybacks off of that one, was a lot of female streamers and gamers being valued for their looks, specifically if they have a webcam on or anything. That is how they are being valued by the viewer, whether they are good at the game, bad at the game, but having fun. If you are not appealing to them, that is instantly going to change how they interact with you, which is an issue that I think the specific question that I saw said, some guys deal with that, but it is largely an issue with women. 9 times out of 10, if somebody's coming into your chat to harass you, looks is one of the first place they're going to go. Even if they're being positive, I find it's really annoying if somebody comes in and is like, oh my God, you're so hot. How do you guys deal with that? What are things that you can kind of like recommend? And do you think it's getting any better?
Better?
Yeah, I don't know. I was just, do you think? Yeah, probably not.
So,
no.
What's funny is last week I was streaming what was it? I think it was Pokemon Unite or whatever, and that is still a male heavy dominated game because it's a MOBA. It's a Pokemon MOBA. Yeah. But I love Pokemon. I only know MOBAs from League of Legends, and Overwatch was kind of a MOBA, and I'm decent at it even though the barrier to entry is kind of low. But there was someone who came into the stream, from the Unite side. They've been hopping from all the top Unite streamers. They're like, hey, you're pretty cute. Hey, that's creepy. My girlfriend's in the chat. And I'm just like, I think that comment specifically, it kind of drilled into them, be like, oh, my bad. Excuse me, my bad. And I'm like, yeah, so you assume that, hey, thank you. I know I'm cute. But at the same time, it's not okay to just hop a Pokemon stream of all of all things. Like, bro, it's... But the point I'm trying to make is that I don't think it's getting better or worse. But I will say, like Tivia said earlier, people are starting to be a little bit more conscious of what they say. I've even had instances of people DMing me after stream saying, hey, I apologize, whatever I said in stream was out of line. And I'm like, bro, I don't even remember what you said. And I go back and look, I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. You're chill.
Yeah.
But people are starting to be a little bit more conscious about what they say in one stream versus another person's stream, because it may fly in one chat, may not fly in the other chat. And kind of want to get the whole audio clip of what you just said earlier, T-Fade. I'm like, that's really good. I
That's
want to
good.
just like play that on stream to be like, you didn't hear from me, you heard from her.
Oh no. If anything, I find that one of the issues in that area is that you end up with a lot of guys who think that girls are only making it because they're attractive in some way. But I really don't think that's the case. You know, like streaming and YouTube spaces are dominated by men, and like it's just. I think that it's a lot of people who either don't want to take a look at their own content and maybe realize what they could be doing, are spending more time being salty than just having fun and putting themselves out there, and they'd rather just redirect a lot of that anger at other female creators and other people that they feel like they can blame for why something's not going okay in their life. And then some people just view streamers as kind of like objects of entertainment, and that you should just be like happy that someone's complimenting you, or like how dare you not wear makeup when you're on stream, or just anything like that, where people can get like really aggressive. And I understand why a lot of streamers will sometimes just be like, I'm gonna stream, but I'm not turning on a camera today. I'm not doing it for you. I'm just having a chill stream, because it can probably get like really exhausting after a while, especially for people who aren't as good at like naturally shutting things down.
You kind of also see. Oh, go ahead.
No, you can go. You can go.
I was just gonna say that's probably one of the reasons why you see like a huge rise in VTubers or creators getting a
Oh,
VTuber
yeah.
model, so they don't have to put up with that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it just switches to where people are going to criticize your VTuber model.
Yeah.
I'm just like, make it end.
Yeah, it's either going to criticize the VTuber model for like being a certain way, or they're going to try to like work really hard to dig up actual pictures of you and be like, you think you look like this? It's like, no, it's an anime character. Of course I don't think I look like that. But I understand why people want to do it, because you still want to be able to emote on stream and make it feel like there's something going on. But for a lot of reasons we've already discussed, people don't feel comfortable putting their faces out there.
Personally, I like being able to see people's emotions when they're chatting with me.
Same.
So I like watching people's faces, like when, you know, like in a stream, I like face cams, but I also like personality off the face cam. Like you don't have to have a face cam to have a personality and go out of your way to entertain people. And not to like take jabs at people, but like I feel like it's usually the men, or not the guys, who are sitting there not talking to chat, not looking at chat, we're looking at their game, mediocre gamers, lights off, whatever.
Yeah.
And that's the people that criticize the women. They're like, the titty streamers are stealing my viewers. No, you just have no personality, so you're not getting any viewers. Like it's not them, it's you.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree.
But yeah, and I feel like a lot of the time as well, it's not even like people will come in and they'll just like constantly compliment me. They'll be like the only thing they ever say in chat is like, I love your eyes, I love your face, I love your eyebrows. I was like chill.
Yeah.
Like stop like they're sitting there like staring at me like this. Like I'm like, back up. I'm here to play a video game. Stop. Because I feel like sometimes people see it like, oh, they're being negative about your looks, like that's a bad thing. But I feel like sometimes it's uncomfortable when people compliment you too much as well, because it's like, just chill. We're here to have fun, hang out. I'm not here to like, you know, be flirted with or be complimented constantly. It's like overbearing, and I don't like it.
Yeah, no, honestly, sometimes like the over compliment is like way worse than the person who's gonna come and be like,
God.
you look like a crack addict, because I can be like, thank you. You know?
Like I'd rather them say that.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, I know.
Yeah, and like people don't understand that, because I'm not here for that. And it's like different streamers are, and they're cool with that, and they'll let you know they're cool with it, but like don't just go into somebody playing a video game stream and just start like drooling over them. In terms of people who are trying to start streaming and are noticing that they're having issues with this, it really just kind of comes back to what we kind of gave advice on before, just like have a solid base around you that can help shut things down, that, you know, your friends know you aren't okay with. If you're not quite comfortable being the bad guy, there are tons of people that are mods that are totally fine being the bad guy in that situation, and they like it. So just like, you know, don't let the mods take control either, but like, you know, have your solid base that can kind of back you up there, and just like, again, really remember at the end of the day, like you're putting yourself out there in a way to pursue a passion or an interest or a hobby or just a career, and that instantly makes you better than anybody coming in here trying to discredit you or only value you based on your looks. So yeah, just keep pushing. So now we're going to push into the triumphs. These ones I actually took some of like the exact quotes, because some of you lovely ladies were mentioned specifically. So just starting with some of the triumphs. So I used to game a lot as a child until it was frowned upon, which caused me to stop gaming for years. And what got me back into it was watching Tiffay and other female streamers, seeing that it was okay. It is okay to do what you enjoy, and don't let others tell you what you should or should not do. Don't let toxic people make you stop yourself from doing what you want, which I think is great. And I think it's super cool that Tiffay was able to have that effect on someone.
So I think like something I've definitely preached ever since Valorant came out, just because I won't deny it's a very, very, very toxic game, especially like pointed towards women. So over the year and a half that since the game came out, there's been a lot of situations where like very young girls, I'm saying like girls like 16, 17, they'll come to me and they'll be like, hey, I'm really scared to play competitive Valorant for the first time because I'm scared that people are going to be mean to me. And my most famous quote that I say all the time is like, don't let strangers put you in fear of like you being yourself and you being able to make connections with like real people. Because for every toxic player I've met on Valorant, I've met 10 nicer people. It's like same as the hate comments. So I think it's just like, don't let strangers have that hold over you, because like who are they to have that right? Like
Exactly.
no one should have that right.
Exactly. Absolutely. Moving into another one, the person in the industry that has inspired me the most is absolutely Alexa. She helped me realize that girls are able to stream and get followers because they play games well and not just because of how they look, even though she's gorgeous. Sorry, I know that's... I think that was like, I think they didn't want it to come across as like they're being like, even though she's ugly, she just plays games so well. I think they really wanted to clarify that they weren't trying to insult you. But she's helped me feel like we have a place in the community after years and years of getting tormented the second I make a comment or call out in the voice chat. Yeah, exactly. It's so nice. Yeah, and I think that that's the thing that sometimes like we can forget about like as creators, that just by doing what you're doing naturally, even if you're having a horrible day, even if you get off and you're like, that was terrible, oh my God, people were terrible, or just I wasn't in a good mood, there's someone out there who was all like, look at her go, look at Tiffay, look at Glitch, and you're making their day and giving them the confidence to actually like pursue their passions, which I think is a beautiful thing. Moving into another one, I'm a trans woman living in the world of gaming before and now during my transition. Gaming inspired me so much that I've decided to make a career out of it, and now after 5 years of university, I'm trying to enter this industry as a game maker. I always look up to the other women in these spaces, and this gives me hope and the gas to keep trying and getting better at what I do. So I'm thankful for all of them who battle to be in this major male-dominated space. I think that's honestly a glitch, because you kind of do a lot of the behind. You're not a game developer, but you do a lot of the stuff behind the scenes, and I think that that's an area people can kind of forget about. You can be really passionate about like the content side of things, but then realize, oh, I have a passion for like the community stuff, and I can do that in a different way, like on top of my own streaming stuff. So I don't know if you kind of have any thoughts or...
It's definitely not really talked about besides, game developers, because, this is what a game developer looks like, which I really love that hashtag. Be like, oh, I see y'all nerds. Okay. I wish physical events were a thing where people can go safely, because there was a huge rise in the behind the scenes, being more diverse, but you don't really have us speaking out about that side. You hear like the game developers, we're now having more content creators like us speaking out. But what about, the people behind the scenes that you're making sure things are running, you have a community forum to go to and all that. I actually don't have a lot to speak on it besides, we're here, we're making things happen. Like we are, we're help making this stream, this panel a thing as well. There's a huge cast right behind the scenes right now making this happen for you guys. And I feel like there needs to be obviously a more of a voice. So, you have like, female accountants are making sure that, the staff is getting paid. You got female executives that are making sure budgets are getting approved. You also have, oh God, is a psychiatrist, I think.
Psychiatrist, psychologist, therapist.
Psychologists, yeah. You also have female psychologists that are also talking to female and non-binary staff to, see if there's any issues that are arising within your space. They'll help walk you through whatever you're feeling. We exist. We exist everywhere. We just need to push that out more, saying, hey, there's more in the industry than just what you're seeing up front, but there's like a whole crew in the back. I remember going to the Blizzard Arena back in LA, and there was a huge female staff behind the scenes. I'd be like, wait, y'all doing all the lights and stuff? Because we're here. I just want to let people that are watching this or listening to this that we are here, and that's all I got.
Absolutely. And then just one last one we have here. Seeing how teams like Team Liquid and G2 open their doors and give so much visibility to Valorant women's teams or any other game makes it possible to believe that people are becoming more educated and we make a fairer esports world clean without the psychological and verbal abuse towards women. We can all contribute something, and from your club, we all see it. Thanks. So just that general appreciation that, Liquid's putting in the work. Not to like toot our own horn here, but just like in a natural way, Liquid is putting in the work, and they're reaching out to different creators. They're reaching out to different talent to prop them up and give people equal opportunities of other people, which I think is really great. So that I think is pretty much going to wrap it up there. Does anybody have any final thoughts for the community?
I love women.
Same.
But yeah, thank you all so much for joining us here today. I'm going to let everybody kind of sign off, and you can find out where you can visit these lovely ladies more. So just to start off with me, I'm mostly on YouTube at Amanda the Jedi, and I'll toss it over to Alexa.
I stream on Twitch pretty much every single day. My Twitch is Alexa. That's about it.
Hi, my name is Glitch, aka GlitchXCity. You can find me on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, and also Spotify.
And I am Tiffy. You can find me on Twitch, YouTube, TikTok. Just Google it.
Thanks again so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time.